In this video, I'll go over my 30-day challenge on how to gain respect as a new manager. If you haven't seen my other video, which outlines the details behind this template, please check the description. So just going back to the first page, it just gives some simple instructions indicating that this template is designed for 8 direct reports. As well, all ratings are 1 to 10, 1 being the worst rating and 10 being the best rating. So there'll be 5 sections to the template, and here's a simple description. The first section, you'll be recording and tracking how open your employees are and what you're doing to intentionally build a relationship with them. In the second section, you'll go through documenting any meetings you've had about career goals with your employees. In the third section, you'll be going through recording any time that you removed roadblocks for your employees. The fourth section, you'll be recording anything in relation to when you had to defend your employee, perhaps in a meeting where, another employee was trying to throw your employee under the bus, and where typically you might just not do anything. Well, these are the times when you can take action and also record that or write that down. And then the final section will be about tracking every time that you intentionally sit with your employees, even if it's for 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, because each one of those times is an intentional way to build a relationship. And then after the 30-day challenge is complete, you'll just assess to see how you were at the start, how your employees were at the start, and what you feel that you gained from going through this 30-day challenge. And as well, one thing I've indicated here is if you'd like specific help with a specific situation, you can email me here at robinlandryworklife@gmail.com. So yeah, just leave my email there. So let's go through the template. So as I mentioned, first section is relationship building. Second section is career goals. Third section is roadblock removal. Fourth section is defending, and the last section is learning. And not to repeat this too many times, but I have a video specifically on how to gain respect as a new manager or as a manager in general. And that goes through these 5 aspects. So this template might not mean much unless you go through that video. And again, the video link will be left in the description. It's probably really important to watch that video first, then to go through this template. And in that other video, this is where you can download this template and have access to it. So let's say we're starting off the month. It's December 1st. And first thing you do is you're going to print this template and you're going to leave it on your desk. Everything in blue is stuff I put in as an example, so that blue stuff wouldn't be there. So the first thing you need to do on, maybe November 30th, the day before you start this, is to put the initials of your employees. So I've got RL, OL, TL, AK. So for this example, I've got 4 employees. So in this first section of relationship building, you're initially identifying from a rating of 1 to 10, with 1 being the employee is really closed. They don't really talk much about their life or anything with you. And 10 being the employee divulges everything about their life and easy to talk to. So as you can see, I've got RL employee with really close type employee at 1. And I've got this employee with initials AK at a 10. Very open and easy to deal with. So here's the 4 weeks: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So carrying on. So you can see in this first week, every day I'd be tracking, did I actually go to my employee and say, hey, how's it going? Or did I initiate any conversation with my employee other than, getting information about their work? This is more about building a relationship, not specific to work. So as you can see on the Monday of the first week, maybe I was timid to go talk to these people who were not really open, so I didn't do it. I didn't do it Monday, I didn't do it Tuesday, but with AK, I was consistent all the way through. Easy to say, "Hey, how's it going?" And he or she would spill the beans on everything about life. Um, so that sort of gives you a scenario. So then you can see as my weeks went on, I got a lot more consistent at asking them how they're doing, and then you can see at the end you do an openness rating. So after doing this, how open do you feel the employees are? So you can see RL went from a 1 to a 5. These two employees went from a 5 to an 8, and this employee was already really open and easy to talk to. So it was already easy for me to have a relationship. So you can see nothing really changed there. The second section is career goals. So this is about having a meeting with your employees to go over what are their career goals, what are their interests in their life going forward in regards to careers. So here's the 4 employees. You put the initials. When did I have the dates of the meetings with them? So you can see RL on December 12th. I had a meeting. What's their high level main career goal? So RL wants to be a project manager in the future. OL has little to no interest in any major goals. TL wants to be a vice president someday, and AK wants to be a supply chain buyer. So that's what I got out of the meeting. And then perhaps in the meeting, you might come up with what's a short-term goal you can implement now, something to move the pendulum in the right direction. With RL, who wants to be a project manager, we discussed about doing a single nighttime course at the local university from April to August. So that's sort of the next step. For OL, that employee wants to do some advanced Excel training. So I'm going to make that happen. Here, determine, for me, I'm going to go to HR and find out what are the company education dollars. Do they get 2% of their wage in dollars, or do they get anything reimbursed? And then finally down here, for AK, who wants to be a supply chain buyer, we were discussing what are some of the supply chain courses, like programs like a 3-year diploma or whatever. And then also I tracked here how engaged was the employee. So interesting enough, RL up here was really not really open, but in this meeting, huge engagement, 10. So it just gives you also an indication. You can use this sheet in the months down the road to say what are the easy things to talk to them about. That RL maybe doesn't want to talk about his life, but when you talk about career goals, he's all in on the discussion. So the third section is roadblock removal. So again, you put the employee initials, and then through the month, ideally you want to be able to remove 3 roadblocks for each of your employees, because that's about helping your employee. When you help employees, they become more trusting, the relationship becomes deeper, and there's an increased level of respect. So for RL, there was an issue with purchasing software, which is slow. So helped solve that issue with IT. And then also they had an issue with one of the policies in the purchasing department. So I had that revised. So that was 2 roadblocks that had never been fixed for this employee. So now they're like, hey, this guy does stuff. I might help him out. Oh, well. Chara's broken arm. Again, small things, which may seem extremely small, can be really big for somebody. So I purchased another chair. That solved that employee's problem. They probably had the problem for, 5 years with the previous manager who didn't do anything about it. And then OL also had a problem with one of the coworkers who plays the music too loud. So I just went over to that employee, said, hey, can you use headphones or, just turn the music down? And then I might not have it all coming back to me and saying, hey, you're doing a great job, but I'm sure the employee will appreciate that. So there's a couple of other examples. TL has family situation issues with picking up a kid, so I had the schedule modified so TL could leave early to pick up her child at the school. That's a roadblock. And then AK, trying to deal with another department manager, and the manager never responds to the email. So I had to go talk with the manager, say, hey, can you make sure to respond to the emails? So that was a roadblock for AK. And then AK also gets annoyed that there's not enough microwaves in the cafeteria. So I purchased 2 new microwaves. That solved that person's problem. Again, these problems don't have to be really complicated. Little things move the needle. I can promise you that. I am an active operations manager. I've got 100 employees. I've been an operations manager and supervisor and team leader, different roles over many years. And I can promise you these little things is what employees want. This is where you can build respect, where you can gain respect from employees and build a deeper relationship. So the fourth section, defending. So this is about defending your employees. When you defend employees will defend you or sacrifice for you, whether it's time or going above and beyond. So here's the 4 employees. Again, up to 2 different scenarios where you stepped in and you were able to defend your employee. So I put an example here, December 5th, other employee in a meeting was commenting on a mistake. So I stepped in and just sort of defended my employee on that mistake. And then December 17th, there was a production meeting. And, one of the production project managers was blaming my employee for something that really wasn't that big, but just looking to pass the buck to somebody else. So I got involved in that. So these are just some examples. Here again, production meeting, blame game. December 18th, HR assuming employees taking advantage of the previous thing that I helped with, the modified schedule. So I had to get involved with HR so that they're not blaming my employee for taking advantage. And then a couple of other examples. And the last section, which I talk about in my other video, is learning about what the employees do, not just going in there and directing like a dictator. Countries don't like dictators. They say they do, but when you think about it, they just go around them. If they're controlling a country, they'll just do things under the rug type. So that's why it's important not to be a dictator, but to learn about what your employees do. So through this, what you would do is you would just track every day. Did you sit with your employee and learn a bit about their job? So I wasn't really, again, these 3 people weren't as open, so I was a little more timid to go talk to them. But this employee AK, I generally didn't have an issue with sitting with that employer every day and learning a bit about their work functions. And then you can see I, over time, got more comfortable with sitting with these other employees. Again, it shows that you care about their job function. So that sort of wraps up how to use this template. Again, as I mentioned in the description, I'll leave a link to the previous video, which goes over how to gain respect as a new manager. And then that's pretty well it. Yeah. Thank you. And that wraps up how to fill out this 30-day challenge template on how to gain respect as a new manager. If you're interested in how to gain respect as a manager, whether it's new or whether you're a senior manager, check out this next video.